Just call to let. Hey, it's Ed Salek. The show is Island Hoppin'. This is 30 years we're coming at you. Sort of a special treat for you today. We have two very good friends that are going to do a little bit of performing for us, and we're going to do some talking about the music industry and the music that they took part in. I'd like you to welcome David Camacho of Reparata and the Delrons, of Vito and the Salutations, and Earl Lewis and the Channels. And with him on guitar is my friend Poopa, who's been here probably about 1,000 times, but he'll be playing along with us. And, well, Island Hop. Take it away, guys. For your love, oh, I would do anything. Oh, I would do anything for your love. And for your kiss, oh, I would go anywhere. Yes, I would go anywhere for your love. More foolish I get with each heartbeat, but we all get foolish at times. That's why I repeat, for your love, oh, I would do anything. Yes, I would do anything for your love, for your love, for your love. Hello, my friend. Hello. Just call to let you know I couldn't sleep at all tonight, and I know it's late, but I couldn't wait. Hello, my friend. Hello. Just call to let you know
about you every night when you're there at home and I'm all alone. Hello. Maybe it's been crazy, maybe I'm to blame, but I put my heart above my head. We've been through it all, and I love you just the same. When you're not here, just need to hear. It's good to need you so. It's good to love you like I do, and to hear you say each and every day, hello. Never gonna let her go. Never gonna let her go. Never gonna let her go. Some enchanted evening, you may see a stranger. You may see a stranger across a crowded room, and somehow you'll know there and then that somehow you'll see her again and again. Some enchanted evening, you may hear her laughing. You will hear her laughing across a crowded room, and night after night, as strange as it seems, the sound of her laughter will seep in your dream. Who can explain it? Who can tell you why? Fools give you reasons, wise men never try. Whoa, enchanted evening, when you hear her call you, when you hear her call you from across the room, then run to her side and make her your wrong. 'Cause all through your life you may be alone. Once you have found her, never let her go. Once you have found her, never let her go. Never, never let her go. No, 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 no. Once you have found her, never let her go. Once you have found her, never let her go. Never, never let her go. Enchanted evening.
We have a very special guest waiting for us on the phone right now. You all know him, and God knows I love his music. He did such hits as That's My Desire, The Closer You Are, which is a big hit, and he gave us some great years of entertainment. Ladies and gentlemen, I got Earl Lewis and the channels on the phone for us. That right.
Ed has a few questions for you, more.
Okay, let's go.
How'd you get started in this business, singing?
Well, my sister used to take me up to the Apollo Theater, and I saw these groups. You know, at first I wasn't interested, but then I saw Sonny Till and the Orioles and the Ravens and those groups, and it sort of like stuck with me. So when I would go out at night to take my dog out, I would be singing these songs up and down the street. Sometimes people say, shut up, and sometimes they say, oh, it sounds good. It depends on what time it was.
Well, going back to when you were a kid, now let's say, what was your favorite group of that time, that era?
My favorite group?
Yeah.
Tones.
Was the Orioles. They were my favorite.
Was Sonny Till.
Yep.
They were quite an act. As a matter of fact, I tell the story too often, but when Pookie passed away, Rosemary and I went down to Washington for the funeral. As a matter of fact, Pookie's wife asked me to say a few words at the service. But after the service, they had whoever was left from the Orioles, the Clovers, the Moonglows. They were all at the service, and they went over to the cemetery for the burial, and they all sang together. And I said, "This is a classic. You know, you can't put that on tape because it just wouldn't be right.
It's too personal.
But it's something to see it was incredible. You know,
I can imagine, because you don't expect to see anything like that at a funeral, and that's really wonderful. It's a tribute to the person that's died.
What were some of your favorite locations? You know, you mentioned England. Was that the reception good?
England was good because they said to us, this is not old music. This is beautiful music. We love this music. We wish you could have this music every day. But so we really had a wonderful time over in England. They really treated us really nice.
Good. How long are you working with Chino? How long is he working with you?
I was
What
working.
Chino? That Chino over there?
Yeah,
that
David,
me,
yeah.
me,
Dave.
Chino.
I know. No, David worked with me
I-
a long time.
I started working with Earl in 1980.
Yeah.
Till he retired. Sudden, the Channels band ended up backing up like 4 groups simply because of the plane being late and all this other
And you
stuff.
can't beat a band, and the Channels band was one of the best.
Yeah, they were really got good musicians.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the
I need
groups
to-
came out with
Go
tracks,
on.
and the
I'm
tracks.
sorry, go on.
A lot of the groups came out with the tracks, and back in those days, the tracks weren't all that good.
Not only
Yeah.
that,
You
not
know,
only that, I
and
have to
there's
say
nothing
something
like a
that-
live band.
Oh, sure.
One thing I have to say about Earl that I loved, a lot of these promoters didn't want. They wanted to do a house band
Yeah.
and stuff. Earl was the only one that would say, "You want me? The band comes with me," because there's
That's
a lot
right.
of things that
That's
he
right.
did that you got to watch Earl because he's certain cues that he gave and certain words. When he said, the only difference is when he said, "There's a bus going east and we passed it west," we didn't know. We didn't know if we were doing 16 candles
Yep.
or I believe. So here we go. Until he went he would turn around at me and go, 16. We got it now. Go ahead.
Oh,
Well, you remember the little silly little things that happened, to us on stage,
Yeah.
But you guys were so into our music that if I changed it immediately, you guys would follow.
Exactly. And that's what
Yeah.
that those bands couldn't do, because if all of a sudden you changed the set, it was boom, we're right on.
Yeah.
I
Listen,
wonder.
I
wonder
really had a wonderful career, with the different channels and the channels band. It was really wonderful. And you would probably wonder why I don't want to do it again. But I just did my last show and I said, this is it. And I'm okay with that, because I would never want to go back on stage and not be who I'm supposed to be. And it happens to a lot of people. And people, those who say they love you, they talk about you. Oh, he can't sing anymore. He can't hit the notes, So I definitely don't want to be in that category.
well, I don't think you ever would, Earl. You certainly carried yourself in the most professional manner. And I remember seeing you on stage any number of times. You knew how to work the audience.
Well, I was on stage. I was doing show business. But when I came off stage, I didn't want to do show business anymore. I just wanted to be Earl, not Earl Lewis. And I would sign autographs, and, because you owe that to your fans. But I would say to myself, oh, gee, I'll be glad when this is over. Because I'm I'm not excited about anything. I just want to be who I am. And because I did all my nonsense on stage, people would know that maybe I would say maybe I'm a shy guy. I don't know. But I wasn't for a whole lot of fanfare. But I would do the audience, the autographs, because I owed it to the audiences that came to see me.
Well, seeing you on stage, I never pictured you as a shy guy.
I know that. And as soon as I got off stage, it was over for me.
I learned while being part of Earl and Reparata and Vito,
You need that?
that each lead singer has their way. Like with Earl, he'd like to gather himself before the show. The band
Right.
and the group knew that, so he would go and all by himself, and then he would come. He would come, and all of a sudden, we'd do the circle, and we'd all pray before going to stage.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
then going.
We had to pray.
Yeah.
Always. We wanted God to bless our show.
And he did. He liked it.
Well, you know what? Because I don't know where all this Earl Lewis business came from. So we would pray that it would remain while I'm on stage. Because, the How You Like Me Now and the different songs and whatever I did on stage, that wasn't really me. Because when I got off stage, I didn't want to be a part of that. That's
But it was your voice. and that's what a lot of the young people. And we used to all collect 45 records, and I mean, I had a stack of yours, and I know The Closer You Are, and Flames in My Heart, and everything else that you did. David Camacho, welcome. Thank you for making a trip, come all the way in from Bayshore, and I want to thank you for everything that you did for us, and you got us Earl Lewis on the phone, and quite a conversation. He's very. And Poopa, as always, thank you for being here. Poopa helped put this together. He insisted that we do it, so here we are. Now, David, you had quite a career. You started with Reparata.
Yes, I started with Reparata.
And went to Vito Balsamo.
Vito Balsamo and group. Reparata, to me, band and group was like unbelievable. High energy group. Mary is one of the greatest singers that and entertainer that.
I did a show with her down at the beach, and you could tell though she was at the point where she says, "One of these is going to be my last show because it drains you, it takes a lot out of you." And
yeah, that's it. A lot of people don't realize. Poopa, he can back me up. People see you on the stage for 2 hours, but they don't realize how many months and how many years of practice
exactly
it takes to do those 2 hours. And they are very draining simply because you're trying to give the audience all the memories that they gathered from when they used to listen to you, when they used to do basement parties and
exactly
and sock hops and all that other stuff that they did in high school and stuff. And as a matter of fact, I was talking to Charlie of the Drifters.
Right, Charlie Thomas.
Charlie Thomas of the Drifters, and we started laughing because I said to him, Charlie, do you remember a gig that you did in 1965? No, actually, 66, 67, in Long Island at a place called, it was a catering place. He says, yes, I remember that catering place. He says, okay, let me remind you the scenario. This kid walks up to you because his prom sucked. So Charlie was getting into the elevator. I did not know who he was yet because back then you didn't see them. You only saw, you heard the records, So all of a sudden, he goes, listen, you people party? He said, yeah, my crew party. He says, people upstairs don't. He says, come upstairs and join us. And me not knowing. So all of a sudden, my crew goes and we're standing in a circle in the front, and they go, da-da-da, and ladies and gentlemen, the Drifters. And then he comes out and then he gives me a wink. I says, you remember that show? He says, don't tell me. I says, yeah, I was that 17-year-old kid.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's something else, really.
That's an amazing story, it is.
Yeah. Another time, one of my favorite singers is Chuck Jackson.
Any day now.
Yeah. They say, any day now. Yeah. And
great voice.
I was walking in with my keyboard into the Apollo. And as I'm walking, this tall, handsome black fella with a ponytail said, young man, what are you carrying? I said, I got a D50 over here. So I said, oh, would you bring it up, please? And my friend, the professor, who is the the piano player for the Shirelles and Arling Smith and stuff, that great piano player, says, okay, set up there. You got the strings. Meanwhile, I don't know that's Chuck,
Right.
But all of a sudden, I hear, boom, 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 boom. And he says, darling, you walked out on me. And all of a sudden I said, that's Chuck. That's Chuck. Chuck. I'm playing with Chuck. So at the end of the gig, I had an Apollo, what do you call it, where everybody signs. And,
right. And programs.
A program and stuff like that, and a poster.
Right.
And he signs his name, gives me a kiss in the cheek, and I said, I just got kissed by Chuck. Nobody talked to me.
How old were you then?
I was in my 40s, I was in my 40s, and it was Earl Lewis. That's another story. Earl Lewis. They called Earl Lewis in the channels, and we went up there, and I said, "Oh man, we're doing an Apollo, wow!" So we're doing shout. We always ended up with shout, and at the end of the shout, I did it with Mary, where I would go out, do a few spins, do a split, and fall back on the keyboard. So I figured I could do the same thing with Earl. When I did it with Earl, the whole Apollo erupted. I mean, everybody was just jumped up. Yeah. But Bobby J goes, "What about that piano player?" And So we leave. So at the end, because Earl doesn't like to get, Earl doesn't
Upstaged.
like upstage. Okay.
Right, yeah.
So he said, "David, I don't mind the spinning and all that stuff, but no more split, okay? When you're with me." I says, "Okay." So I get to the next gig with Earl, and a bunch of the audience say, before I even get to the stage, "Are you going to do the split? You're going to do the split?" I said, "No, my God is a jealous God."
Did you do it?
No, but I did a semi-split.
A semi-split.
A semi-split, and then he goes like this. He goes,
Oh, all right.
he gave me his approval. Yeah.
And let me tell you, I know Chino for a while now, and a lot of these stories, he has so many of them with all these great artists and musicians. And a lot of these stories are new to me. But it blows my mind that he's had this opportunity to be with all these great, doo-wop groups and all these groups.
That's a great feeling. That's and it's all memories. I mean,
It is. I got a funny one for you. The Cadillacs, Speedo
funny guy.
and the guys went to Amsterdam to play, and they took this other keyboard player with them. So I saw them at the Apollo, and they call me Chino. Some people call me David, some people call me Chino.
Dancing Dave.
And that's how he met Gary Weiss and him. They were talking, and they said,
Gary that plays with Dion.
Gary goes like this. He goes, "Well, do you know my friend David? He plays in doo-wop." And Gary gave me the name. "Oh, you mean Dancing Dave?" So Dancing goes like this. But what happened is that his whatever the drummer was, not to mention names, decided because he was in Amsterdam that he was going to take a toke.
Right.
Because everything is
Yeah.
So they came back. He said, "Chino, next time we go to Amsterdam, we're taking you." And I said, "What happened?" I said, "Well, he decided to take a toke, spend the rest of the gig underneath his bed." He was underneath his bed. We had to get another keyboard player to read the charts, and stuff like that. So, and I started laughing. He says, "Next time we go to Amsterdam, you're going."
Yeah. That was a wild town, Amsterdam.
Amsterdam.
I spent a little bit of time there myself. But,
I had such a great time when I was in the service. I was after Vietnam. I went to Germany. I was in Germany for 1 week, and I'm banging away at a piano and stuff like that. And 5 guys asked me, "Would you want to play in a band?" And I said, "Oh, sure." I thought it was just a regular band. In the morning, they called me up for Reveille to go see the Colonel. And I said, "Oh, my God, I just got trouble. I can't get in trouble that quick. I know that I could get into,
Yeah.
So the Colonel says, "I hear you joined the band." I said, "Well, yes." He says, "Well, tomorrow you go to that building, get rid of your Army clothes, and you just joined the second best R&B rock and roll USO band going." So I started traveling. But what was good, from hell, which was Vietnam, it was heaven, because there, the Everyday People being the second best group, we end up gigging with Ricky Nelson. I remember being backstage with the Sweet Inspirations. And with the Sweet Inspirations, there's Ceci, and she's sitting next to me like this, and we're talking, and she's talking about her little daughter.
Right.
Her little tiny daughter is just, and she was just born or something like that. She says, but she's got a set of pipes. It turns out that that was Whitney Houston.
Was it?
Ceci Houston from the Sweet Inspiration is Whitney Houston's
Mother.
mom.
Yeah.
So so I can say I didn't know her, but I know her as a thing. Another time, Reparata and the Delvals, we were doing Madison's, and all of a sudden we see that the security guard is giving this guy back there a hard time. So me and Joey Sirico from Reparata, you had him here with Cookie.
Oh, yeah. We had him here with Cookie, yeah.
Yeah. And we both look, and we walk up to security and said, "Do you know who this guy is?" This is Paul Simon. So we let Paul Simon in, and he's talking to everybody. And I'm standing like, there's a gate, and I'm standing like this. And he walks up there. He says, "When are you going on?" I says, "I'm next." And
This is Paul Simon.
Paul Simon.
Yeah.
Actually. So I went up there. We did the show. I did the spin. I got split. I came down. He looks at me again. I get a kiss in the cheek. And he says, "You're good." And he walks away again.
The kiss on the cheek. Yeah,
I said, "Listen, I didn't watch this one. I'm definitely not watching this one." But that's some of the things that I've gone through. I played with the Cadillacs. I backed up the Chantels, Lenny Coco and the Chimes.
A lot of the
You've
groups.
been all over the board on that.
All over the board. Vito.
Balsamo, yeah.
Vito, I have to say something about Vito. Vito is, they see him like this, but he's one of the kindest men in the world. And when it comes to harmonies,
He knows them.
I don't think there's anybody that knows harmonies. You do this, 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 you do this. No, you. But when they went out, the group was Vito Balsamo, Eddie Paducci, Shelley, Jimmy Spinelli, who's with the Duprees,
Right.
and Frankie G. I don't know what happened to him, but Eddie went back to his old group where he was the lead singer of the Five Discs, and Shelley was with him, and everybody just did great, but it was some amazing things. Today, Vito goes like this. He says, in front of Earl, and we're all there. "Yeah, I remember when you took David from me." Because it was a thing. He says, at first with Earl, it was just big shows.
Right.
So he says, "David, we're going to need you, and I hope that Vito doesn't mind." He says, "What?" I said, "What are we doing?" He says, "Radio City, I'm in." I'm in. But with Earl, we did Radio City, and we also did Lincoln Center, and we did Broadway. So
Not too shabby.
I've done some great, we did the Garden, we did Beacon Theater, we traveled. It's just been a great experience, and now I'm playing with the Dimensions.
Are you playing with the Dimensions? That's new, then.
Yeah. What happened was about a year and a half ago or more, I'm friends with Charlie and Dennis. They're the drummer and guitar player
Right.
for the Dimensions. And they called me up and they said, "David, would you mind coming to Flushing Meadow and help us out with doing a video?" And I said, "Sure, why not?" And he says, "Do you have a tuxedo?" I said, I was praying that my tuxedo still fit. Luckily, it was one of those tuxedos that the pants stretch.
Right.
So I said, "Sure." And I wore my hat, and they gave me a thing. So I did the video, and I'm ready to go, And then Tommy comes up to me. He's one of the singers. He says, "David, come and take the picture with us, So I went and, took my picture with the Dimensions. The stuff, it's on Facebook and all that other stuff. And after that, he just smiled and said, he went like this. He said, "Welcome to the group." And then I've been with the Dimensions now, with Lenny D and the Dimensions.
You do a lot of work. And you're helping out new groups that
yes.
the Transfusion.
Transfusion is a great group.
Great group, yeah. We had them on the show here, and we had a lot of fun. You were very sick. You had just gotten out of the hospital.
Yeah,
and you came to the show.
I just finished getting operated. I called up the band, and They went and picked me up. I was like, "Argh." So they helped me up to the car. They packed up the stuff. We came over here, and I was sleeping all the way here. I said, we got to do this show. When I did that show, I was weighing 145 pounds. I looked like everybody said, "Whoa, David, you lost a lot of weight." Not the way
Not the way you want to do it. No.
not the way. So we came, did the show. We had a great time. We went back, and they laid me down and stuff like that. So when I got back to the hospital where I was used to work at,
Right.
everybody was wrong. I hear the band had a weekend with Bernie with you.
The corpse.
Well, the whole group came from the hospital, right?
Yes, we all worked at the Veterans Hospital.
Right.
Me and Al, who was our ex-drummer, he was a Vietnam vet as well.
Right.
So him and I were the two
By
Vietnam
the way,
vets.
before I forget, welcome home, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you so much. So, but it's been a great career. My brother's funny. They go like this. Well, what? How come you don't go see your brother play? I said, it's because we rehearse upstairs. He said, why am I going to pay when I got him upstairs every single day?
Whoa.
So,
What stories, huh?
it's true. How about you, Poopa? We'll talk a little bit about you.
Oh no, yeah, I just have so much fun listening to these stories because growing up, I'm from the Caribbean, so a lot of Spanish music and stuff like that. But I had already lived in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so I knew who the Beatles were and all this stuff, like what we're talking about, the British invasion and stuff. But some of my relatives were really big on the old stuff, the doo-wop stuff. I lived in Milwaukee, Wisconsin for a while, and to hear the names of all these artists that Chino has worked and performed with is
amazing.
just unbelievable. So, I'm just happy to be part of this and hear this.
I have this is a funny story. I used to go to Gary U.S. Bond's house.
Right.
Because he lives over 15, 20 minutes from me. So we would sit in the basement and we'd nip a little bit, and his wife Lydia and his daughter, but she would cook rice, beans, and stuff like that. So one day he says, Chino, I'd like you to teach me some martial arts. So I says, okay, we're in the basement. I said, put your hands this way, and I want you to do this, and I want you to block it when I'm coming. He didn't move his hand quick enough, but I just tapped him in his stomach. Boom. All of a sudden, he puts his hands down, and he starts walking up the stairs. I said, Gary, where you going? He goes, I'll get my gun if you kick me that way again. So we started laughing. But he's another person that just talking to him in the basement, in his man cave, had a little studio and all that stuff. I learned a lot, watching him and watching him on stage and stuff like that. I said, oh, okay. That's
funny. And I probably talk too much about Pookie. Okay.
Yeah.
But I was always a fan of the Spaniels, and I had virtually everything they ever recorded. And I was always a big doo-wop nut. We had do shows.
Right.
So I went to see them at a local show here on Staten Island. And after they came off stage, they went out and they were in the lobby, and he was standing there, and I went over and talked to him. Became best friends with the guy. Realized that not a superstar, just an average guy. And he was just looking for a break to get away from the hubbub. But when he got on stage...
Earl Lewis said something very important, because I've met a lot of musicians that were in a lot of singers. Because they had hits, people think that a lot of the musicians and a lot of the singers are people person.
Right.
And a lot of them are very shy, and their outlet is singing.
Yeah.
But when they come off a stage, they want to go home.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I was talking to Earl. I said, this meet and greet, we have to wait till the very end.
Right.
And then you meet everything. I said that you should do your meet and greet during intermission. This is, what do you mean? You go over there, They're buying the CDs while you're buying the CDs and everything. You know,
You're meeting
you're
people.
meeting
Yeah,
people, you're selling records, you're signing things, and better than that, we could leave.
They're there already. Right.
They're there, and they're going to go back inside happy because they met Earl and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And all that. But that's a thing. But my favorite guy who taught me so much, I had two people. I would get a call all the way from upstate, the promoter in Poughkeepsie. David, I says, yes. I says, Frankie Ford is coming up. And he was calling me to see if you would bring your piano, which I had an 88 key and stuff like that. I never brought it up when I was using it, but when Frankie wanted to use it, I says, okay, I'll bring it up. So I would have to bring up, but I would watch his hands, how he played, and how he did it. And because he had a different feel than I do, because he was from New Orleans. But he was telling me a story about him and Fats Domino.
Right.
When he wasn't doing good, you know, that the money wasn't coming.
Right.
He said he was telling me I would go up to Fat's house. And Fat was, hey baby, how are you? Sit down, you know. What's wrong, Frankie? Well, things are going slow. He says, money's a little low. Well, Frankie, why don't you go into that big room over there and just pull out some of my gold records and go ahead and take it to the pawn shop and get your little something, you know. And I said, but it's one of your gold records.
Wow.
He said,
Yeah.
he says, look, he says.
Wow, that's pretty generous.
So Frankie had me laughing like that, but it was one of the funniest guys. And the other one is Cedar.
Oh, yeah.
Cedar.
The harp tones.
The harp tones. He would always want to use my piano too. David, can I use your piano? Could you set it up for me and stuff like that? I said, yeah. So I was playing the blues, you know, the way I thought I played the blues, you know, which is not, I'm not from down south, so I got my own way of playing the blues. You know, David, back in my day, this is the way I played the blues. And he played the blues. And I went, oh my God.
He was talented.
He did.
He
He
was
says,
very
and people don't know that he arranged everything and wrote for the harp tones.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So after that, now when I play the blues, I play my way and his way.
Yeah.
You know, but he taught me. But Cedar was I love Cedar so much, and he passed away, you know.
Yeah,
But now he's playing
couple of
keyboards
years
for God.
Yeah. There's an awful lot of them up there playing for God.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Yes, as we get older, they fall by the wayside.
Oh, yeah. But, you know, I went from, which was a great thing, dancing to them, like I said, at basement parties, house parties, high school, junior high.
To playing with them.
And then all of a sudden I find myself playing with all of them. And do you know, I was very happy that I was playing with them. But my cousin Sammy Sachs, who was, he played with everybody
Sammy,
also.
Yeah, Sammy.
He says, you know what I like about you, Chino? I says, you don't care if they had 1 million hits or one hit. You're always going to be you. He said something about being blitz, you know, because you're clueless to who you're playing with. I said, no, I'm not clueless to who I'm playing with. Is that I know that because I'm playing for them. Mary said it the best. She says, David, I don't care if it's here or in the street. Remember, when you're walking around and people already seen you on television and all that other stuff, you're representing me. Knowing this, I knew that no matter, even today, where I ever go, because of Earl, because of everybody that I played with, that when they ask you, well, who'd you play with, and you say this one, and say you do mess up something or you get in trouble, so you're still a reflection of who you played with.
Exactly.
So because of that, I keep myself in check, you know. The only one that tries to get me out of check sometimes, I won't look that way though. This is my brother. He's my friend. We've been working for so long. We both come from the same town in Puerto Rico, Calle.
Calle brothers.
Yeah, and still today, we go like this. Where the hell did we meet?
A band called Loisaida.
A band called Loisaida. And but it's been a good, great many years that we've been together.
Well, you're two great guys. Your music is incredible.
Thank you.
And the experiences that you bring with you, even more incredible. I mean, I'm listening to the stories that you're telling, and in a way, you were very gifted to be able to live that life and be with these people. And
I have piano players. A lot of people go this one, that one, that one, that one. I have my friend Willie Weiss, who's the keyboard player for Frankie Valli and stuff like that.
Right.
Lou, who you met, love him. Great keyboard player. Charlie Palmieri, Eddie Palmieri, Latin salsa players, but really heavy jazz players.
Right.
So I used to go to there's a piano player called Johnny Colon, and he had hits in the early 60s. But there was a school, the Johnny Colon School, where the top Latin groups, Latin players, would go there and donate their time to teach people how to play piano. This room was piano, this place was bass, but there was set up there. So my teacher was a guy also called Sonny Bravo, who's one of the best Latin guys there is. But I've had, where I was going to, when I was in Germany, I met, when I left the Everyday People, I went to Sargtrang in Nuremberg, and I started singing with this group, and we didn't have a name. And I said, well, what do we name it? Let's name it The Noblemen, because that used to be my group when I was a kid, The Noblemen. Okay, we'll name it The Noblemen. And it was a Thanksgiving. Johnny Wilder, may he rest in peace, said, Chino, listen, I got a song that I wrote. So we went to his room, and his wife at the time, and his kid, Rozzy, the band went into it, and he started playing. He says, play this. And I started playing it, and then he started singing. Always and forever, each moment with you. So the way every member of that group was in the service.
Right.
Was in the service. So as we left, I got to play with him, but then the group became Heatwave, and Heatwave had so many hits.
Exactly.
But I could say that on a Thanksgiving in Heidelberg, I was sitting in the bedroom with Johnny Wilder and the group when he wrote "Always and Forever."
Wow, that's absolutely amazing.
And that's just another one that stayed with us forever.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
At every single wedding you go,
That's it.
always and forever.
Yeah.
Because we're going to keep on talking. We can only talk for so long. But I have a question.
Yeah.
We got to have him play one of the Latin songs before he goes.
Of course, we can have him. It's his show. Whatever he wants to do.
You want to go? You want to?
One of your Spanish ones, or
Okay.
yeah, I think.
Okay.
That okay?
Before we take it, we'll take it out with the playing of the music.
Right.
And I want to thank you guys.
Thank you so much for having me.
David. We had David, Chino, Camacho. We had Pupa. And we had a phone call from Earl Lewis of the channels. And it was a day of education. And
Beautiful stories.
Before we say goodnight, I want to thank my crew. I want to thank Rosemary in the control room. And I want to thank Roman on audio and JR out here on camera. Guys, thank you so much. And guys, you want to take us out?
Yes. We're going to do a song that I wrote. esperanza, todos mis sueños, mis deseos, páginas llenas de tigre, mi sentimiento contra el seto, mi corazón contra el seto, como el agua en el desierto, tú eres todo lo que yo quiero. Me tienes andando en la lluvia, me tienes andando con la luna, explicándoles a las estrellas que tú eres la razón que hay poetas. Tú eres la luna en el cielo. Tú eres la letra, la melodía. Eres la dulce fruta de melodía. Tú eres el sol que brilla. Tú eres mi amor, es mi vida. Escrito en mi alma, bajo la luz de esperanza, todos mis sueños, mis deseos, páginas llenas de secretos, mis sentimientos prisioneros, mi corazón contra el seto, como el agua en el desierto. Tú eres todo lo que yo quiero. Me tienes andando en la lluvia, me tienes hablando con la luna, explicándoles a las estrellas que tú eres la razón que hay poetas. Me tienes andando en la lluvia, me tienes hablando con la luna, explicándoles a las estrellas que tú eres la razón que hay poeta.
Who's your favorite?
My favorite singer?
No.
Your favorite song of
your
the
favorite
one
song
that you sang.
Oh, my favorite song that I sang was "My Love for You Will Never Die."
Great song.
Now, do you know that was a national record? It sold more than "The Closer You Are."
Did it really?
But yeah, "The Closer You Are" was regional, you know. But when we did "My Love Will Never Die," it became a national song. It was a hit in certain areas, but it was the biggest selling record that we recorded.
And the Flames in My Heart, that did pretty good too, right? Regional?
No.
Really?
I don't even know. Excuse me. People don't even know "Flames in My Heart."
I do.
You do "Flames in My Heart"? Are you sure?
Oh,
We
I
were-
got a copy of it.
"Flames in My Heart." Nobody says anything about that song.
Earl,
Yeah.
the only people that cared about that song is when we did that place all the way in Pennsylvania and Pittsburgh somewhere, that everything that you even forgot the songs. It was like, what? We had to remember all the obscure stuff that you did. Remember?
Yeah. "I Really Love You" and "What Do You Do" and all those crazy songs.
Earl, I want to thank you for the time that you took to make the phone call to us, and great talking to you, and I wish you continued success in all of your endeavors. Thank you for all the music you gave us.